Hey everyone, we are going to get into citrus in this video. I have previous citrus videos, at least one, maybe two. I will link those below if you're interested in seeing recommendations from previous years. I still stand by all of those. I went through this enormous citrus phase in my late 20s into my early 30s where my entire collection was primarily citrus. I would say probably 80% of it at the time was heavy on citrus fragrances. I've enjoyed them my whole life and I've gone through phases. And so right now I can't say that I am in a citrus phase, but I will say I have become more interested as we've gone into spring and summer in certain citrus fragrances. So I'm trying to think here, maybe a couple of these have been in previous videos, but the rest of them should be fairly new. There's one I want to start off with that I don't have in my collection, but probably will as soon as I can find it on sale. I was hoping that Blue Mercury would carry it. That's where I first tried it, and I haven't seen it on that website for a long time. So I don't know if it's sold out, but you can find this on the Fresh website, Fresh, and it is Hesperides. I think that is how you pronounce it. At least that's how my brain reads it. Perhaps it is a different pronunciation. You don't say the S. I don't know. But the word refers to grapefruit, and it is a grapefruit fragrance. It is so fresh, refreshing, zingy, light. The problem with the fragrance is it doesn't last very long. And by the way, that's going to be the situation with most citruses that you try, unless the fragrance house has used some chemical fixatives in the fragrance that typically make fragrances last longer. For the most part, your citrus fragrances are considered freshies. They're lighter. You might get a few hours out of them and need to reapply. And quite frankly, in the summertime when it's heavy, high heat, I don't mind doing that because sometimes I don't want to wear a fragrance all day, especially if I am outdoors in high heat, and fragrances can, kind of get a little bit cloying. But this one is nice and it's fairly priced. I think a full bottle of this is somewhere in the like $90-ish range, which, as we all know, might seem like a bargain in today's fragrance price world. This fragrance is a clean house. This house is clean in terms of its fragrance ingredients and all of that, if that matters to you. But clean fragrances tend to not have those strong chemical fixatives that make them last a long time. But this is such a fresh, bright grapefruit smell. However, it also has just enough sweetness to it so that it doesn't feel super tart. And even like sometimes citrus can seem like astringent in terms of the smell. Can smell house cleanerish. This does not. It's just really smooth and appealing to other people. It's amazing how many other people like the smell of grapefruit in the air, even though you wouldn't think it would be a fragrance that you would like to wear. Let us dispel that, that sort of myth about the smell of grapefruit. People love it. So check this one out. No one talks about this, and it's definitely worth a sniff. Really bright and happy fragrance. I should have mentioned at the start of the video that all the fragrances that I have selected for this video are heavy on the citrus. It's not just that there's a citrus accord, but it's one of the top accords that you smell. It's a very pronounced citrus. And so the next one is fairly affordable on discount sites. It is from Lancome and it is called Eau d'Azur. I think I got this for under $30, this bottle, or thereabouts, something like that. And it's probably one of the best citrus freshies in my collection. Really, really good. And I will also say that there's very subtle variations between the citruses that I'm going to share, because if they're citrus forward, then you're thinking about like the secondary or tertiary accords accompanying those, and those being like the differentiators between the fragrances. And so to a nose that's not familiar with citrus, a lot of these may smell pretty similar. So just a disclaimer there. The thing about this fragrance, it has a nice rose peony combo that accompanies the citrus. The citrus is the star of the show. And in fact, it's lemon and it's bergamot, which can be a little bit sharper. It is a bright, zingy lemon. There's a little bit of red pepper to kind of add some zhuzh to it. And then you have those beautiful florals. So primarily happy citrus at the top with the rose and peony peeking through, and a little bit of a woody, very, very slightly musky base. This is decently lasting, like half a day's worth. And some people find it fleeting, so just know that, and you may have to re-up, but very affordable and one of the happiest, brightest, easiest fragrances to wear all year round, and especially in high heat. Another one that I would not hesitate to wear to a work event. I think it would fit in quite nicely and be very appealing to colleagues. You would smell clean, you would smell citrusy and friendly. It's a very sort of friendly citrus smell, very happy, really neat. Has anyone tried this? Let us know in the comments what you think about Eau d'Azur from Lancome. So whereas the Lancome Eau d'Azur is in more feminine territory, it can be worn in a unisex fashion, absolutely. This next one I think is more unisex and has a very, very slight masculine touch that I think would appeal to those of you that enjoy unisex fragrances, and for gentlemen that really would prefer their citruses to have some masculinity to them. This is from Atelier Materi, and this is Poivre Pomelo. So pomelo is basically a grapefruit. I think it's just a variation on the grapefruit theme, like a mutation of it. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it's what comes to mind right now. And it basically smells like grapefruit. So this is very nice in terms of that happy citrus grapefruit smell. It has some, I think it's pink and black pepper to give it a little bit of spiciness and zinginess too, which is a little bit where that masculinity comes in, and it's a slight masculinity. It's not like way deep in masculine territory at all. Other notes, there's cedar and vetiver in the base. This one also has a peony and osmanthus note that I think are noticeable, particularly the peony in the same way that it is in Lancome Eau d'Azur, but maybe a little bit softer here. Here, the star is the pomelo, and I would say the pepperiness as a second fiddle player. Pomelo is the star of the show. And in the background set of the Broadway play is the cedar and maybe a touch of vetiver too. This is neat. I think it's a very smooth citrus fragrance. Some people tend to think of citrus fragrances as being sharp and edgy. This is very smooth and easygoing. I wore this, I think it was last week or maybe the week before that. And it just has this nice roundness to it that makes it an easy wear and a little bit longer lasting than Eau d'Azur. You may get a full, proper half day out of this fragrance, but it stays fairly close to the skin. This isn't a big projecting scent bubble. I think the Lancome Eau d'Azur projects more for the life of the fragrance that it is. But this is lovely, and I really, really like these Atelier Materi bottles. I think they're very handsome. Newer on the market, and one that I've mentioned in several videos now, is Acqua de Gioia, and this is the intense version. So I have the regular version too, which I'm probably going to put on Mercari. Super nice. Some people pick up a more pronounced mint note in the original, and it's softer overall. Still really nice, sort of aquatic, citrusy, summer, slightly woody fragrance. This one is characterized by what for me feels like a pronounced lemon note and something that smells like, I don't know if it's mandarin or orange or what, but like an orange juice that you would get freshly squeezed with your breakfast. There's a very sort of fresh, zingy, tart aspect to this with the lemon. And I also get this crisp green apple smell combined with that, along with, I believe there's florals in here, but I don't feel like they're the star of the show, and a woody base. There's like a really crisp, I think it's cedarwood base to this. Crisp, clean, very strong fragrance. A few sprays is enough. This can be very overpowering and headache inducing. It's one of the few intense fragrances that are actually intense. It's very intense. It's a strong, powerful, overwhelming experience. If you spray too much, you're going to choke yourself out. So go light with this when you first spray it. See what you think before you add any more to it. You should be able to test this at Ulta if you have one nearby. I bet they would have this out. I don't know. Well, I assume Sephora carries this too because they carry Armani, and I just love the bottle. So the difference here is that this is a really strong citrus with apple. That's the other key note here, along with that crisp, very sort of linear, clean, woody base. Fabulous. This next one may be a little bit harder for folks to find, but worth hunting down if you're a true citrus lover. It is from Atelier Cologne, and this is Clementine, California. One that I fell in love with from a travel spray that I had of this, went through, and then had to have the full bottle. So the fragrance here is primarily in the juicy citrus direction. Clementine, there's a more aromatic nature to this in that it has basil. There's vetiver in the base, a little bit of sandalwood, a little bit of woodiness. But what I love about this is that juicy, orangey aspect that you get in the top and in the mid. This is another sort of fleeting fragrance that maybe doesn't last the longest, like all of the ones that I'm going to talk about. Oh, there's a couple here that actually have some staying power, but it's because of those fixatives that I mentioned. There's also cypress in the base of this, which is that sort of dry, linear, very crisp, clean woodiness, which I like. Sandalwood and vetiver, as I mentioned. I would characterize this mostly as a juicy citrus in the orange direction. And so for that reason, it is a little bit unique compared to the others in that that orange stands out quite a bit. Still not going to last the longest, but hey, worth hunting down. A citrus fragrance that I've loved for a few years now. It's been hanging tough in my collection. From Guerlain's Acqua Allegoria line, this is Mandarine Basilic. Ah, one of the most beautiful citrus fragrances for me on the market. If I had to give them all up and keep just a few, this would probably be a really top contender. You do have to like basil, the aromatic nature of basil. I love the way basil smells. We cook with it, and it's nothing more just refreshing, mouth-watering, and amazing than the smell of that sort of basil oil scent, whatever, when you crush basil with your hands. So good. This has a tart mandarin note, and it's like when you peel a mandarin, it's almost like a tart green orangey smell in the skin of the mandarin. It's that scent that's in here along with the actual juice of a clementine or a mandarin or something in that direction, orange, with that beautiful basil. There are other notes, and it just doesn't matter because those two are the primary stars of the show throughout. Absolutely refreshing, uplifting, bright, happy smell. And this one has a little bit more longevity than the others, but it's still fairly, fleeting in the sense that it's like a 4-ish hour wear. I've gotten up to, 6 hours or so with it fading down on me. And it's beautiful. There is a forte version of this that I have not tried. And I think I just saw on the website that there's a version with the word harvest behind it. Has anyone tried that? Do let us know in the comments if you have. And if so, what are the differences between this and the harvest version, if any? Probably one of my favorite top fragrances. Mandarin orange and basil leaves crushed together in perfume form. Fantastic. A fragrance that I have gone through multiple bottles of, and I think it got discontinued at one point, and I was very sad about it because it has been a deep love for many years. I wore it like nonstop for a while there, probably in my mid to late 30s, and then fell out of favor with it, and then wanted it again, so ended up picking up a bottle, and it is, I almost dropped it, oh my God, ginger essence. Ginger essence. This is from Origins, and they started to make it again. So I have a backup full bottle of this one. This is a 1.7 ounce, but I have a 100 ounce. So this is primarily a ginger fragrance. However, ginger to me reads very citrusy in fragrances, sort of the same family of scents, even though ginger is not a citrus. The other notes in here, though, are lime and bergamot and lemon. And so the combination of those is one of the most light, feminine, refreshing, fairy-like citruses on the market. I love this. I have really good memories of trying this for the first time in an Origin store out in Charlottesville, Virginia. And at the time they had the sink, and you can try there was a scrub, a ginger essence scrub. I think it was a sugar scrub, not a salt scrub. So we tried that out in the sink, my friend and I, and then we both put the lotion on. There's a beautiful body souffle that comes with, not with this, but that you can buy that has the same scent in it from Origins. And then we spritzed this on, and you couldn't tell us anything. We were in our feminine wiles. We thought we smelled so pretty in the most innocent, light, fairy-ish way. And that's what this fragrance does for you. This is very recognizable. When other people are wearing it, I know that they have ginger essence on, and I don't smell it a lot, but I have been in business meetings in the past where a few people have worn it, and I know right away, you've got ginger essence on, don't you? Yes, I do. Beautiful fragrance, very light. It smells how the bottle looks, very sort of translucent, thin, wispy, feminine, a sweet, citrus, gingery beauty of a fragrance. So love this one and have for very, very many years. I'm going to save the heaviest one for last. I have a couple of other light ones and then a couple heavies to share with you, the heaviest at the end. This one is another very affordable fragrance on the gray market. This is another 4711 Acqua Colonia fragrance, and this one is called Blood Orange and Basil. I purchased this, I think it was on Fragrance Net, or was it the Perfume Spot? I don't remember, but this big, I think it's a 6-ounce bottle. This is massive, 5.7 ounces. Wow. And it was, I don't know, 20 something, 30 something dollars at the most. They don't retail for that. I think these retail in the $80 or $90 range, but you can get these on discount sites. Blood Orange and Basil is exactly what it smells like. If you're not familiar with blood orange, it is a very intense orange smell, orangey smell, and it's almost tart. It's like it implies blood orange. So if you can take orange, the smell of orange, and give it an intensity so much that it smells almost like a velvety maroon in color. Like if that color had a orangey smell, that's what blood orange reminds me of. Yes, you get the basil in here, and it's all very light and fresh and fun. This is one that if you spritz lightly, you won't offend. If you spritz heavy, you won't offend, but it does project if you spritz heavy. So, these fragrances are pretty light overall. You can get away with 10 sprays of this. Eventually, it'll calm down and get closer to the skin. It doesn't stay sort of nuclear, but in that first sort of hour or so, you will fill a space with a beautiful, tart, herbal smell that I think is refreshing, a combination of like citruses and garden together. Really neat, has a little touch of earthiness to it, and it's just like an affordable gem. Blood orange and basil. Check out this whole house. Like, there's so many beauties in here that are great as summertime freshies. You'll be hearing from about others in upcoming videos here. This one is newer to my collection, so I don't have as much experience with it. I did sample it a while back and really liked it. Didn't pick up a bottle. Saw that it went on Joma Shop, one of my favorite discount sites, and I had to pick it up. By the way, all of these fragrances will be linked below with shopping links, and if I have discount codes, I will share those with you too. So this is the beautiful Q from Dolce & Gabbana with what appears online to be a tacky cap, but in person it's actually kind of cutesy. So I did get a modest bottle. This does come full size, of course, and this is actually one of the softer citruses here and very easy wearing. Another one that's super appropriate for like work events and that type of thing. I don't have a whole lot of experience wearing it, but I may take this on a business trip coming up, and we'll see if I get some compliments then. Remember me talking about that in previous videos? How I got my feelings hurt because no one has complimented me on my fragrances at work events. Now, I am spraying fairly lightly. I don't spray heavy because I don't want to offend people at work events. And I do hug folks though. So I'm like, did you smell it when you gave me a hug? Anyway, I still haven't gotten over it. Can you tell? This fragrance is softer and feminine than maybe some of the ones that I've mentioned so far. It is a lighter, happy citrus, a very sort of soft, rounded, almost like a sweet lemon. I appreciate that there are some sweet floral notes in the middle of this and a sort of powdery, musky base, if you ask me. It is a very, like a soft, dense powder versus a wispy, airy powder. Not dense in that it's heavy, but it's like a powder that is cooling to the touch. Does that make any sense to you? Like if it was in actual powder form, you would touch it and it would be thick and cool and a very slight muskiness. Just an elegant sort of second skin smell is what I get from this in the citrus, floral, very slightly powdery, very slightly musky direction. Cool. Really cool fragrance. Do you have this? And if so, do you like it? Does it perform for you? I can't speak to that, so I can't comment. I can't comment on that. I haven't worn it a full day. I've just sort of sniffed it here and there and am looking forward to wearing it this summer. I really, really love the next fragrance because it's citrus and it is sweet. And that's just such a nice combination. Like if you've tried Devotion from Dolce & Gabbana, that's almost like a gourmand sweet citrus fragrance. I wanted these to be more pure sort of citrus and not in the gourmand direction. This has just enough sweetness that it's not quite as like in the household cleaner direction for those of you that are sensitive to that as maybe some of the other ones that I've talked about. This is so beautiful. And this is Whispers of Truth from the House of Sillage in this beautiful, look at this, bedazzled top here. This one does go on sale on the site, so definitely watch the website for this. I think I got this over half off if I remember correctly. And it's a meaty citrus. So the notes that are in here, grapefruit, orange, and bergamot. It has some florals in it, but I love that there is a caramel note in the fragrance. It doesn't present as a gourmandy caramel, but it lends sweetness to the fragrance. It's almost like if you had a lemonade that had, if you dropped honey in a lemonade, does that sound weird? But that kind of consistency, and it dissolved and gave some thickness to the lemonade, almost like if you added a simple syrup with a touch of caramel, something in that neighborhood. It's so lovely. Such an easy wear, a feminine, sweet citrus, not gourmand at all, definitely citrus, but just beautiful. I love this, and it has a very nice scent bubble, and for me, this one lasts quite a long time. I get at least a full workday out of this fragrance, and I just love looking, I'm pointing it over here at the little thing, but maybe I should do this. I love this beautiful cap on it, one of the prettiest ones in my collection. I'm going to cheat for a second. I don't like to put more than one fragrance from a house in a video so that you get variety, but I really like this one too. And I have this in travel spray form, but we'll eventually add the cupcake. This is another from House of Sillage. I love these little travel spray things. This is called Holiday, by the way. Holiday. I love their travel spray deals. They have so many different varieties of travel spray that are really pretty. Again, wait till these go on sale. They have the beautiful little crystal, and you can get different scents to put in the travel spray and switch out. So I have a lot of these little vials from them, and I stack up stock up when they go on sale. So this one has come on vacation to me to Disney World, and it's very simply one of the most elegant citrus woody fragrances that I have tried. It's such a nice, bright, happy, almost soapy citrus. There's a little aspect of cleanliness, like maybe in an aldehyde direction, but not quite there yet. Something like a soapy citrus with this crisp, clean, handsome woody base. Very easy to wear. Another one that's really crowd pleasing. Listen, citrus and woods, like I said, did I say that already in the video? People love it. It smells good to folks out there. You may not think that it would smell good on you, but give one of these kinds of citrus woody fragrances a chance and see what you think and how it comes across to folks. I don't own it, but I think Chanel, is it Eau Fraiche? Chance Eau Fraiche, pardon me. And is there an intense version? I'm forgetting what it's called. There's an Eau Fraiche and then like a flanker to that that's stronger. My mind is drawing a blank. I don't have those, but I know that people love them. And part of what the appeal is there is that they're citrusy and woody, and they give just this clean, refreshing, nice scent trail that is alluring to people. It's alluring. So I really love this for similar reasons. And then I'm going to end with one that I didn't think was controversial when I introduced it in my videos years ago. I mean, I'm not the one to introduce the fragrance to YouTube, but when I talked about it on my channel and I realized not everyone's loving this fragrance. So I'm leaving it for last, and it is for the daring, and it is one that has stuck around in my collection from Mancera called Oud Lemon Mint. I mean, look at this. You can see me through the bottle. Look at this pretty ombre effect on the bottle. So the reason that I think this is controversial is because it leans masculine in a way that doesn't bother me, but I think might bother a lot of ladies. It has a little bit of a men's cologne aspect to it. It smells kind of how this ombre effect looks. There is a citrus aspect to it here. So think lemon and mint, what the combination of those would give you. It's nice and refreshing that way. And then it has this kind of like sharpness to it here. Like you think about green being a little bit sharp, and then blue as representing maybe like an aquatic nature of a men's cologne. And I like the combination of it. I think it's lovely. I think it softens up and sweetens up as it sits on skin throughout the day. It comes on a little bit masculine at first. And so I can see why people maybe dislike this. Ladies do in particular. But I think this is, in my opinion, unisex with a little lean in the masculine direction. And if you're daring and don't mind what I just described to you, think of like a blue, aquatic, maybe even like oceanic vibe with a little bit of greenness and a pronounced lemon mint aspect. This is nice. So try it out. Once upon a time, I would say that I got something in the oud direction, but I don't know if that's just like suggestive because of the name, because now smelling it here, I can't say that it smells like oud at all. No. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's a woodiness in the background. So this is my most daring recommendation. Now, there are so many beautiful citrus fragrances on the market. Obviously, I'm only sharing with you just a sampling from my collection that I enjoy. Please put yours down in the comments so we can see all of the variety that the fragrance world has to offer. My only request is that it be a citrus forward fragrance rather than something that has citrus as an accompanying note. Thank you kindly for hanging out with me. I know this isn't the most popular of fragrance categories. And so if you're here, you're a real one. Can you drop me an orange or a lemon or a lime if you have that emoji down in the comments to show that you made it through the end? Take care, friends. I will see you in the next video.